what's the plural of Oris? Orises?
Ori?
Let's go for Orises, because I think Ori is going to be...
It's like Rolexes, isn't it?
Rolexes, yeah, but there's something about a plural with an S, isn't there?
Oris is... Well, it should be Oris apostrophe, isn't it? And then no S.
Oh, I'm very confused. We have two examples of Oris watches. How about that? We have two examples of Oris watches. Now, the Kermit watch was launched to great fanfare at Watches and Wonders this year. It's part of a unique collaboration between Oris and the Muppet Show. Who is the most famous Muppet?
Well, for me, it's Sam the Eagle.
Sam the Eagle is not bad, although we have been Compared to different Muppets.
The ones on the balcony.
The two grumpy old
Statler
sort of like men. Waldo.
Waldo, that's
Waldo and Statler.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is dedicated to Kermit, because I think Kermit is the most famous Muppet of them all. Rolf has always said that he wanted to create Oris watches that make people smile.
And I think what's really interesting about it is the Muppet Show it harks back to a different era, and that's why I think it's really fascinating they've put it into a modern contemporary watch, because the Muppet Show is part of my childhood and probably
mine.
yours as well.
And mine, yeah.
I vividly remember it in the 70s, and it was genuinely funny. The whole family used to watch it, and it's kind of got this enduring fascination, and somehow, like Garfield the cat, the Muppets have transcended history, or transcended time, and they never go away. I think this is the first time he's popped up in a multi-thousand-pound watch.
I think it probably is. Well, you say multi-thousand. Do you know how much it costs?
It's about
3,700 in actual fact. So, Kermit comes at a price, but you're not just getting Kermit for that. What you're getting is the well-known Oris ProPilot X, and this example is, of course, in titanium. So a very sort of familiar case, a very familiar shape, but a very unfamiliar colour. Oris tell us that they've got the exact Pantone of Kermit's skin there, which I'm sure is correct. Although I must admit, I remember Kermit in my memory is a little bit darker than this, but I'm sure what they say is...
I said the same thing. It seems light to me, but I can't profess to be a Kermit expert.
Maybe it's if you see Kermit up close, he's a bit...
Maybe it's Kermit out in the sunshine. Who knows?
I don't know if the camera does it justice, but in real life, it's certainly pretty arresting. All you can see is this big sort of swathe of green, and it doesn't just pop, it sort of like punches you in the face, which is great because it makes it a very recognisable watch. The only thing I think I have struggled with a little bit is the sort of visibility of it, because obviously you've got this very luminous green and white hour markers. It's a bit funny because when you look at it, as I'm looking at it now from the side, it's actually pretty clear. But when you look at it full on, I think the green just sort of drowns out the hour markers. So I'm asking myself, why didn't they take the opportunity to put those batons in a darker colour, maybe even titanium to match the case?
Well, unfortunately, it's exactly the same issue I've got with it. That exactly from this angle now, I can read it quite clearly, although I still feel the batons or indices are too insipid. I just think that there could have been something a bit bolder, perhaps a bigger chunk of loom, perhaps something metallic, perhaps something that's somehow colour related to Kermit in some other way.
What about the dark Kermit green that we always imagined Kermit to have? Because hasn't he got a little sort of collar that's dark green? Or am I making that up?
I don't know. Sorry,
I thought he had
we've
something.
gone down a rabbit hole now.
I thought Kermit wasn't just sort of like... he wasn't naked on TV. That would be rude.
No, he didn't wear anything, no.
He was nude?
Yeah.
Really?
100%.
I thought he had this sort of rougher collar.
I think he had costumes.
Okay.
Anyway, back to the watch.
Anyway.
my issue with it is exactly what you said, is the green is almost like the green that you would get from a highlighter pen to me. So when you look at it directly, as you would look at your watch, it kind of drowns everything out. And my other question that I would pose to the Oris management if they were here is the ProPilot X. To me, that name is a name which conjures up a certain imagery. Yeah. ProPilot X. So let's just say, for example, Breitling made a watch called the ProPilot X. Probably in your mind, you could come up with exactly what that watch is going to look like. I don't get the association between the Muppet Show and ProPilot X. Whereas, for example, if they'd gone with the Aquis, I could almost have got that because it's an aquatic watch. It's a frog.
So you're saying that frogs can't fly?
No, generally I think they can't, yeah. And my question is, out of the Oris portfolio, is why the ProPilot X?
You know, there is such a thing as a flying frog.
I'm sure there is.
It's a type of frog that flies. So, frogs can fly.
Okay.
Just to make the point.
Go Frogs.
But what you're saying is that maybe Kermit doesn't have a pilot's license.
Well, I just think it's really an odd watch to put it on. I'm not saying I don't like it. I know it sounds like I'm being slightly negative here, but I kind of like the watch, but I kind of can't get my head around it.
It's meant to be having fun, Richard. I think it's about escaping the mundanities of everyday life and having a bit of playfulness. I mean, rather than pedantically pointed out that Kermit's not got a pilot's license.
Well, that's just the way my brain works. I'm sorry. Now, you don't see Kermit very often, do you, either for your money?
You don't. It's a shame because you only see Kermit once a month on the 1st of every month. Rolf likes to call that the Kermit Day.
Right.
And the idea is that when you see Kermit, it sort of sets you up for the rest of the month. And you realise that the world is a happy place, full of laughter, love and sunshine. And then you sort of crash into a big depression on the 2nd of each month, knowing that you won't see Kermit for another 30 days.
This is one of the things that, as we have discussed ad nauseum on this channel, love the Omega Speedmaster. I've never been a huge fan of the Snoopy one. However, I understand the connection because the Snoopy Award is the award that NASA gives to the most useful bit of kit they had on a mission. And the Omega Speedmaster got the Snoopy Award, I believe, after Apollo 13 when they needed it to time a rocket burn. And the Snoopy editions are rather divisive Speedmasters. There's not many people who spend £10,000 on a watch with Snoopy on it. But the Snoopy is present all the time. On one of the editions, he's on a little ship that orbits a planet on the
I've seen that. You see, I really like that.
I love the concept, and I think the original Snoopy one, which just had a little black homage to Snoopy, and now they've got the "What would you do with 14 seconds" text on the side of it. I think for my money, I might have liked to have seen Kermit a bit more.
I think I would definitely like to have seen Kermit a bit more.
Perhaps even on the case back.
On the case back would have been a great place to put him, but I would also like to see a bit more Kermit actually in his date window, because it's a small date window and he's quite a big Kermit, and I would like to see his lovely little grinning face filling up a bit more real estate on my watch.
He is very, very, very small. So huge kudos to Oris for doing it. I can't help but feel it could have been executed differently, shall we say. I'm not going to say better, just differently.
I understand what you're saying. I do get it. But I'm sort of like a little bit carried away by the fun of it all because, you know, I love Kermit. He's a cheeky fellow. And, of course, what was quite interesting is that Oris have opened the door to other Muppet edition watches. Other Muppets are available. And they've said that basically it might not just be Kermit, you see.
Other Muppetry.
Other Muppetry is available, but I think they've got to be a bit careful with it in some ways because, you know, some people might be offended. So, for example, if you get your wife or girlfriend a Miss Piggy watch, I mean, you know, is she going to take that well? I was wondering if you get one. I think one with Animal on it would be good. The guy who did the drums. Yeah, I think one with Beaker on it would be fantastic. Beaker. You know, Beaker might be my favourite Muppet. Everybody loves Beaker. Yeah, absolutely. We need a different podcast, completely just going through the Muppets. But I agree. I think what they've done is, I mean, obviously, what one suspects this didn't come cheap for Oris to have that kind of link. Yeah. That's, you know. And I think that they have opened up a Pandora's box of Muppetry. Fantastic. Well, you know, speaking as a Muppet myself, I can only wholeheartedly agree. We are both Muppet fans. We agreed that. We love the Muppets. And who doesn't love the Muppets? And so, again, I said, you know, good on you for doing it, Oris. Fair play for doing it. I think it's a lot of fun. So, which leads us on to another divisive watch. And another Oris. Another Oris, which was equally divisive in the office. Now, this first impression appears to be a normal Oris Aquis, which, as we know and recognise, is an absolutely beautiful dive watch. And we have a lot of time for the Oris Aquis. You had that wonderful New York Harbour one. That was, which was superb. Yep. Superb, that watch. When this one came out of the box, I won't lie to you, it was just a little bit different. It had a slightly muted reaction in the office. Nobody said, I don't like it. It was, oh gosh, that's a bit different. Well, I think the reaction was maybe the only muted thing about it. It's not what I'd call a muted watch, is it? So this watch is the 2023 Hölstein Edition, which is celebrating the 119th anniversary of the founding of the company. Now, I kind of did a double take when I read this at first because I thought, why are we celebrating the 119th anniversary? But then, of course, you pointed out the obvious to me.
They celebrate it every year.
Absolutely.
As a birthday.
That's the nature of birthdays, isn't it?
And I think
things go badly wrong and then you stop celebrating them. But
yeah, I think it's a great thing to do because it means every year, as soon as they finish this, they're probably planning the next special edition. However, that must be a challenge to do that annually. Anyway, this watch is, as you can clearly see, purple sunburst is how we would describe it. We looked at it and we thought, is it fume? It's not fume. Is it degradé? It's not degradé. It's a highly polished sunburst, which gives you almost like an hourglass shape of brilliance, top and bottom, left and right, depending on how you're holding it. It is a stunning dial. Would I wear it? I'm not sure. But what I do think that is inspired with it is the fact they've given it this matte grey bezel.
I love that. Really nice.
Now that with the purple works incredibly well because the matte bezel doesn't really match any of the polishing or brushing or shaping within the case of the bracelet.
Yeah.
Yet it really, really works. And I tell you what I'd love to see, if Oris are listening by any chance, I'd love to see an Aquis with a dial in that colour.
That would be amazing. What about a ProPilot?
Yeah, well, it would go so well with the titanium. This sort of battleship grey.
Yeah.
So this also, of course, has in it the Oris 400 movement.
As does this.
Which is their in-house movement, isn't it?
It is.
With the eye-wateringly impressive 120 hours power reserve.
I've not seen anyone manage to.
That is, well, I think that I correct me from somebody who no doubt will write in and tell us wrong here. I think they had to sacrifice some accuracy to get that.
Yeah.
That through. And with this watch, you also get a 2-year, or if you sign up for My Oris, a 10-year warranty. Now, gosh, I wish I'd had a 10-year warranty with my Omega Speedmaster.
Well,
that's another story. So this one is how much? You take a stab?
I think 3,500.
Oh, you're frighteningly close. 3.3. And for that, I guess you're getting what you can only call a real. It's almost like a special edition. And I think they've done a lovely job on it. I just find the colour is... Maybe it was a little divisive in the office because there were people looking at it thinking, I love it, but would I wear it? I love it, but would I wear it? I would like to talk to Oris PR people and say, when you made the colour, what demographic of buyer were you thinking to aim that for? Because I'm pretty sure it's not me. I just wouldn't wear a purple watch, purple dial dive watch. And I don't think many professional divers that I know probably would either. At this point, people are writing in furiously saying, of course we would. But
my name is Jacques Cousteau and I wear purple
and
every day.
I wear purple every day. Yeah. You know, it's so, yeah. But I think it's a very brave colour. I think it's a great special edition colour. I wouldn't want to see it as a regular watch in the portfolio because I think if you're going to be that bold, that has to be a special edition. If you're going to be that bold, that shouldn't be a standard portfolio watch.
What I like about the Hölstein Edition is the fact that it's an opportunity for them every year to just let loose on a flight of fantasy, to create a watch which they know won't be mainstream, they won't have universal appeal, but it's just a little bit of fun. And this, I think, is what we always go back to with Oris, isn't it? Is that, you know, they are masters of fun. They like themselves not to feel constrained by the conventions.
They have nailed that, haven't they?
Of watchmaking. And I think this is why it's such a great brand and it's got such a sort of great place in the sort of portfolio.
I think as well, it's also worth mentioning the back of the Aquis is really beautiful. It has the Oris Teddy, which of course we all love. And the Teddy has got full scuba gear on and is all in purple.
You see, I like this now.
And again, that's and it's like an enameled sort of picture behind glass. So that it's where I guess you would have a crystal display for the case for the movement. Instead, you've got the Teddy, and again, that really gives it that special edition feel. I'm not sure, are these limited?
They are. Yes.
Both of them.
No. I think Kermit is here for the foreseeable.
Okay.
And the Hölstein Edition is obviously limited. Now, I don't think on the back you just get this sort of display case, which is nice because it's wonderful to see this Oris 400 movement at work. But
well, especially with its rotor. And it's really interesting. I'll tell you what I noticed, and I don't know if this is deliberate. I'm sure this is written on the website somewhere. Again, somebody will know. When you look at when you pull the movement out and you look at it, the movement does appear to resemble a teddy bear.
Do you know what? I didn't know that.
If you look at the movement, you've got two wheels at the top, and then you've got the sort of the smile of the rotor. And it's only when you look at the large macro shot of it on Oris's website, the first thing that struck me just today was it looks like the head of a teddy bear. Now, I would be astonished if that's deliberate. I would be really impressed if that's deliberate. So what I think is really interesting about the two watches, and this is really why we had them both together for this particular video, is that they're both showing the fact that you can be a major manufacturer, a hugely respected manufacturer, yet you can stray from the norm.
Absolutely. And it's that fearlessness that I love.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of eschewing of convention. I think you can sort of like go too far with it. You know, we're both agreed in the fact that we didn't like, for example, some of the latest Rolex releases from Geneva this year, where the poor day date, instead of saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, says something like love, peace and happiness, or
has
whatever.
Balloons or jigsaws on
exactly,
it.
yes. So
I mean, that was an ill-conceived design, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, but, and this goes back to the thing now that we're talking about, well, should Kermit be more visible? The fact is, unless you knew Kermit was there, you probably don't see him. And maybe that is the point. Maybe it's enough that you know Kermit is there.
Yeah.
You have a quiet little laugh to yourself, and it's like your secret. Because, of course, the great thing about these limited edition watches, these special watches, is that sometimes they can sort of be too out there. And for this, for the most part, people will think it's just a green watch. But for those who are in the know, they'll think, that's a Kermit. And part of the reason why it makes you smile is that Kermit is just for you. Mm. He's not putting himself out there, and it's just very, very funny. That interview, by the way, between Rolf and Kermit that they did at Geneva was hilarious. I mean, I think I've never seen an interview with a frog at a watch show before. I have a question then. So 3,700 and 3,300, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Really nice. Quite a privilege to see these two Orises together. Unfortunately, we've got to give them both back. But if you could keep just one, which one would you keep and why?
I would keep, drumroll, the Kermit, just because I applaud the fun in it. And whether I'd wear it much is another matter, but I think it's worthy of any collection. And I would probably wear it I would keep it running so that I could wear it on the day that Kermit popped out. In fact, I'd quite like to be looking at it at midnight when Kermit suddenly...
It's time to dim the lights.
Yeah, he suddenly appeared. I think so. I would keep the Kermit. I would love to own an Oris Aquis, but I would not particularly want to own that. Back at you.
Back at me. I would too keep the Kermit for those very reasons. I think I would wear it quite often, actually, because for the simple reason that I like the ProPilot, I like the titanium, and I love Kermit. I really love Kermit. If I had my indices in a Kermit colour and a dark colour, I might be tempted to wear that watch all the time. For me, that is the only thing. So I really like it. I would definitely keep the Kermit. The Aquis is a very, very fine dive watch. I love the bezel. The purple it's a little bit more out there than I imagined it would be. The photographs, I did see it in photographs before it arrived, and the photographs somehow make it look a little bit more muted. For me, probably a bit too much. I'm not sure purple is my colour, but Kermit green is definitely my colour. I love Kermit. I love Miss Piggy, and I love all the Muppets. In fact, I could very happily amass a collection of Muppet watches, and this is maybe exactly what Oris is hoping one day people will do.
Have we actually asked them? Are they going to do more? So
someone did at the press conference, and they left the door open. They said, well, for now we have the Kermit watch. In the future, who knows? It's obviously sort of Jim Henson, isn't it? So
I think they'd be daft not to do another one. I think they could make quite a collection, especially as we know they have a propensity for the annual collections. It would be wonderful to have a systematic collection of Muppet watches and see what dial colours they associate. Because the thing is, this is a really easy dial colour. It would be more challenging with some of the other characters.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Next year's Hölstein Edition, which is a big one, it'll be 120 years, won't it? A pink dial Miss Piggy watch.
I'd like to see an orangey beaker.
Orangey beaker, that's got to be done as well, hasn't it?
Because they've done the orange on that, the
Coulson.
Coulson, that's it.
Yes,
the Coulson. Yeah. So they've done the orange, so they could.
They have.
Because they could do a beaker.
Long live the Muppets! Thanks ever so much to Oris for supplying these two great watches.
Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the magazine as well. And we'll be back.
We'll be back with more fun and games from the Muppet community.
Back with more Muppetry.
Back with more Muppetry. I think you should say it. I think it's quite funny.